You had something you still wanted to do because you could easily
Yes.
end the game at this point.
Yep. Only a small thing, but it is something. So, are we ready to start?
I'm ready if you're ready.
Yep. Are you recording?
I did. I started a recording, yeah.
Right.
I should have let you know.
Okay, so I've untapped. Just doing a bit of thinking. Where's Himring again?
Himring is in the Elven shores, all the way off to the left.
Oh right. That's right. Yes, I remember now. Yep.
The island.
Yep. Okay, so. And what else have I got? See you. Alright, so I'm organised. And the long events now. The wake of war comes.
It will come off. That was yours, right? You played that?
Yep.
So it will come off on my long event phase.
Yep. Okay, so movement hazard phase. And okay, so Radagast and company are going to go to him.
Right.
I'm going to have to change the zoom. I'm trying it at 150%, but it's not working for me.
Yeah, I just tried to adjust mine as well, and the cards started overlapping. Your side of the table and my side of the table started overlapping, so I backed it. I took it back to 125.
Yeah, same here. Oh yeah, I prefer that. I couldn't come at it. All right, so this is the nearest haven.
Yeah, you're just going one free domain and one coast. Now, is the other company moving?
Is the company moving?
The other company?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, just making sure. So we draw one. And you've got a ruins and layers with a free domain and a coast. And I have nothing keyable to that.
I'm just delaying a backup. Nothing keyable to that. No. Right. Okay, so I can discard the Grey Havens. Yeah, so the other company...
And I have nothing for them either. I'll go ahead and just give you a no hazards.
I'll put a drawback. And because I've left, my hand size goes down to 8. I've got to discard 2. That's 1. And 2. Okay, so site phase. Can be played there. Oh yeah, so undead, 1 strike with 8. So I'm going to try and enter the site. So I mouse over it and right arrow and type enter.
Right.
So 1 at 8. So what have I got here? I've got
Radagast or Círdan would be automatic. Unless you're trying to keep them both untapped.
So I just got to decide who's going to... I've got the Talk of Hughes. And it's bearer to cancel attack against the company. So probably one of my stronger characters. I might put it under Radagast. So Círdan will...
Will tap to face the automatic attack and beats it.
Yep.
Ties it automatically.
And Radagast will carry the talk.
Yeah.
So he'll tap. So it taps to...
Do you have
points.
Do you have a rescue prisoners in your hand?
No. I've been meaning to put that in a deck.
I thought that's what the dwarves were getting ready to do.
Oh, yes, that would have been good. No, I just didn't have anything to play, so I thought I'll just leave them there. I couldn't think where to put them, and I thought I was taking too long.
Right.
So I have picked up something now that they can possibly do. Right, so that's the site phase. So end of turn.
All right.
I'll discard another one and draw back to 8. Give you the acknowledgement.
All right. You've actually gone through your deck a second time faster than I have my first time. I still have 36 cards. You have 32 cards left, going through twice.
I guess, is it because I've had 2 companies kicking around as well?
It is, things? And it's because you've just been playing cards so quickly. Yeah.
I was going to say, I haven't actually really, because the Círdan's company has just sat still until now.
But all the combat modifiers that you were playing, those get your cards moving constantly.
Yeah, they're easy to play. Yeah.
You don't end up with wounded characters and tapped characters that can't do anything. All right, during the organization phase, I'll play a halfling strength and untap Bilbo.
Yep.
And
and 8's 13 and Bard's 15. I think you've got 5 free GI.
Okay. Because you killed somebody.
Right. Yeah, I was looking through the remove from play. I know that you removed from game. I think it was all in the first one, on the draft. But I think those other 4 are all casualties.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it hasn't been much fun.
So Gandalf will come in at Lorien because he can come in at any haven. That's his special ability. And the other company is going to move. Gandalf will stay where he is. So let's do him first. We'll go organized, movement hazard phase. So the Wake of War can go now.
Oh, yeah.
And you have 2 that you can play during Gandalf's.
Okay. Alright, well I'll bring out another Wake of War.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not? It's there.
Any corruption for him?
Hazards.
Okay.
No.
So I did him first so I can draw before I draw more cards on the moving company. So I have 6, 7, 8.
Oh, yes, I remember that technique.
So now the second company will move, and they're going to move back to the Haven. I had nothing in my hand, but at least they'll be able to join up with Gandalf. And you can draw 3 on them from moving for the non-Haven site, and their hazard limit is 4.
Mm.
3.
I must have known that I should leave those dwarves at Moria because I've just picked up the Book of Marzabul.
But the site is tapped. You played Gollum.
Blow.
You played Gollum.
Yeah. So he's no good to me.
Well, not
so
yet.
I think I brought.
Go ahead.
I think I brought that in out of my sideboard, so I might as well have left it there.
Well, if you had left the site, if you had tapped it early enough and gotten away from it till it went to your discard pile, then when you go through your deck, it would go back to your location deck. So you do have a chance to use it again after each deck cycle. But right now you've got 28 cards still in your deck before that any discarded sites would go back.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to stay there now. As to whether you want to hold that card, that's probably not the most wise. You're not managing your cards very well if you did that.
Yep. So up to 4 hazards. Okay, so I'll get Uther the horseman on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Let's check what was his one. So he can bring a hazard creature from the discard pile to your hand, right?
And he was the one that can bring the Mouth of Sauron, and then the Mouth of Sauron can get any card. It doesn't have to be a creature. Any hazard. That's a common sequence. Play the Uvatha to get the mouth, and then the mouth to get whatever corruption card or anything you were looking for.
Yep.
All right.
Now let me just check something.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that. So I've played, so I've got 3 to go. Yep. I'll play the Huon.
All right. So it's
just
1 at 10. I think we'll.
Yes, because it's a plant.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll let Bard fight that.
Yep. He's got Glamdring, so
he's got Glamdring, so he's up to a 6.
Fancy chances.
Got it.
Yep.
Any little bit helps.
Yep.
Okay. 2 more, right?
Yep. And I'll try the giant spiders.
The giant spiders.
So I've got strikes and prowess by 1, so it's 3 at 11.
Right. All right. We'll face that. The 3 untapped characters will have to face it.
Okay.
So let's do Biffer first. He's a 4 versus a 10, 11.
11, yeah.
So he needs a 7. So he beats it with a 12. He gets a 12. Thorin will tap and tap the shield. So he's up to a 6 versus 11.
Might be up to Bilbo to get the points.
Let's see what he could do. He would really want to tap the cloak, but hard to know. What does Bilbo want to... Because he'd need to roll a 10. You know what? Let's try it. He's going to try it.
How come you're not tapping him?
I'm tapping him right now.
Oh, you are tapping him, right?
Yeah,
How come you're not tapping the cloak?
Oh, because I want to try to get the point.
Oh, right. Wow.
So he's a 1 versus an 11. He needs a 10 to tie. 11 or 12 will beat it. Because that's already... there's not really much chance in this game, so why not something spectacular? Nah.
Okay.
All right.
So
Body check of 9. All right.
Okay, so that goes.
That was really what I was hoping for. Was just that you weren't going to kill him with the body check.
Yeah, yeah, and you're going back to Haven anyway. Yep. And so I've got 1 left. I haven't got anything to play, so I think I'll tap
Uvasa
just to get the. And so go into my. Oh, I've only got 7 in my discard. I should have checked to see what was in there.
You can untap and take a look at your discard before you do that.
Yeah,
that's no problem.
I might do that.
Sure.
Yep. Okay. That's in the rules.
I'm telling you right now, you can do it. It comes down to what kind of what level of competition and cutthroat you feel like playing. I mean, like if I said you tap the card, no, you have to follow through. But
no, I mean in general. Can you look in your discard?
Oh yes, you can always look at your discard.
Yeah.
I thought you meant.
Oh yes, normally I wouldn't do that. No.
Yeah, you can look at your discard at any time. You're not allowed to change the order because some cards will do something with the first card or the last card, but you're not restricted from looking at it or your sideboard.
Yep.
All right, so I've got a few to get rid of. 1. You keep chewing those up. Okay, 9, 8. All right. The Ironhill Dwarfhold, even though I played the dwarves there because I influenced them away from you, it does not tap the site. That's odd, but it goes back to I have nothing else to do there, but it just it's a strange situation where you can bring the faction in, but it doesn't tap the site because they were already in play. All right, so we'll move everyone together. Site phase, we don't have anything to do, and we'll go to the end of turn.
Okay. There at him ring, yes, that's right out of the way. 1, 2, 3. Oh, so they can get to Rivendell. Yeah. 1.
Yeah, they can.
2, 3. Yes.
2 coastal and then up through Cardinal. Or the other way, yeah, you could go 1 coastal, 1 free, and Arthedain and Rudauer. I was bringing you around the backside, but either way, they can move there.
So I better do something. I better move these fellas somewhere. Okay.
Oh, I can't bring Gandalf in. Alatar died. Alatar died.
Oh, can't you bring him in?
No, I can't do that. I forgot. I should have gone back and watched the last part of this game.
I saw him there when I was going through the remove from play, but I didn't click.
Sorry.
I don't think I realised that. I thought
that's my mistake.
Is that in standard rules? You're saying you can't bring the other one in?
No, he's supposed to be you. In fact, in the game, if the wizard dies, you lose. Now they've changed that for the tournaments because they realized that you could lose on a bad dice roll the first turn you bring him in, and that's not very fun. But when you play, once the wizard is revealed, you can't reveal another wizard. That is who you are supposed to be for the game.
So you can keep playing under the tournament rules.
Yes, where you can't bring another wizard in. It cripples your game because all of that direct influence that he has, and he's a good fighter, but yeah, and then you lose 5 more points at the end of the final score too.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So. There's a ranger. Yep. So I'll play forward and tap Orifin. For his company. So I'm organised. There's no long events to come off yet. No. I've got to have the Wake of War, so I'm into the movement hazard, and I'll move the Elves first, so they're going back to Rivendell.
Right.
So that'll have to be a region movement.
So I can draw 1 card because we're moving to a haven from a non-haven. You could draw up to 3 cards because you can draw the 1 for the card plus the 2 wilderness. Even though I can't key creatures to it, you are moving through wilderness, and that lets Radagast draw extra cards.
I'd forgotten about that ability of his. Arthur Dane, Ruda.
Right. So you could draw 3. I'll draw 1.
Okay. Good luck. And yep. Alright, so hazard limit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Though your fords are coming in at just the right time. I have no hazards. Nothing I could play.
Okay, so I've got to go back to 8. Have a look.
I'll go back to next movement hazard and be ready for your second company.
I've got an abundance of good cards. I've got a feeling that one's going to come in handy at some stage. Okay, I'll discard that one. So I'm back at the hand size. So the other company is going to Lorien.
All right.
So that's just a /P.
I'll draw 3 for them.
And 2 for me. The river comes off.
So you remember me saying the sites that you move to, or when you move using starter movement, only the first and the last regions can be keyed by name. So you actually could key to Redhorn Gate or to Wolden Foothills. I don't have anything keyable to those regions, but I do have a Cave Drake. Gollum can tap to cancel, key to Wilderness. if his company size is less than 3, which it is.
Yep. Oh, that seems like a good idea.
So that discards. Yeah, he's handy with a little company. He's great. And I'll just play. No, I have nothing else. That's it.
Okay.
No hazards.
That one. So I'm back to 8 into the side phase. Discard Moria. Yeah, so this one. Thematically, I've got I've got Earth of Galadriel in my hand. I was going to thematically, I wanted the elves to get it, but the dwarves are at Lorien, so I could let them grab it, but I intended the dwarves to stay on the east, and the elves on the west. They'd have to hop across to go and store it.
The game is not. It's not suiting your theme. Mine, I don't know if you could tell. Mine, I was trying to play just everything from The Hobbit. Nothing from The Lord of the Rings, only just characters and creatures and things from the first book. So, unfortunately, Alatar came before Gandalf, and I played him, but he's the only thing that doesn't match The Hobbit, including my hazards.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, you've got the spiders.
The spiders and the wolves.
To the fore, yeah. So I won't do anything in the sight phase, so I'll go to end of turn. And got happy with the hand, so I'll just give you the discard.
What you could do, you could play the Earth of Galadriel's Orchard, let the dwarves play it, and in a token of friendship, they could hand it off to the elves.
Because I intended them to hop across, yeah.
It would just get the card out of your hand. It would get you one turn sooner because the elves still have to move from Rivendell to Lorien.
Yep.
It wouldn't save any other time because once they get there, they would be able to play it themselves. But you could get it out of your hand if you're trying to manage cards better.
My only fear was with the corruption, that you're going to do something with corruption, because Dane's already got the axe.
Yeah.
Oin's -1 with the dagger, so yeah. So no, it's not urgent. I'll hold off.
Okay.
But that was a good idea.
All right, so let me. I like everything I've got, so I'll just say done. All right. So we untap. Bilbo heals. And we're going to
test the ring.
Well, I was going to test the ring, but my wizard is gone.
Have you got other cards to test it with?
No. I have stuff in the sideboard that I haven't even brought in because the wizard died. I was going to test it.
Oh, you can't get to it until you complete the first.
Well, I can't get to it, and there's not any reason to. I don't think it's going to happen. It's just thematically Bilbo has his ring. Yeah. And he's lost a fair amount of dwarves in the process.
Yeah.
But one more does join us. And He'll control Bard. He cost me my last 5. So I'm... Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's not right. He's got 5 and 8. I've got 2 free.
Yeah.
2 free.
2 extra.
A 5 and a 5 and an 8. All right. And I get 2 more character.
Yeah.
Every little bit. Huh.
Yeah.
And we're going to go... So the Wake of War can go. Or this copy of it ready for the next one. We're going to go all out. We're going to go to the Lonely Mountain. So you can draw 2. Let me do the path.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.5 rounded up.
Yeah.
So bring the Wake of War back out.
Of course.
Why not?
It's been in play more than it has not been in play. This game.
I'll bring Dwarves of War.
Uh-huh.
So if I tap
everything.
No, first of all, I'll play the cave giant spiders and see whether you're going to cancel it. So at the moment that's 3 at 11.
Yeah, I'm not going to cancel it. I don't think. I think I have to face it.
I'm going to tap Dwar then to make it.
Okay. 4 at 12. Plus, it's just plus 1 prowess.
Yeah. So 3 at 12.
3 at 12, yeah.
3 at 12, yep.
Oh,
that's to the end of the turn, but so it'll basically discard.
These 3 are going to face it. He has a 5, 6 versus a 12. Good.
Yep.
6 versus a 12. Good.
You're going to get the points.
I don't know. He's a 5.
Yeah, 7's a bit harder.
Got it.
Yep. Wow.
Wow is right.
That's a good effort. Yeah. So I've played
1, 2, 3.
3.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
2 more?
2 more. I'll play Mouth of Sauron as a short event.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to my discard.
Oh.
You know what's coming, don't you?
It's either wolves or spiders.
Yeah, I have got one there, yeah.
It's either wolves or spiders. Yeah.
And so that discards, and I'll finish.
Yeah, so it's going to be the same. They're going to be boosted the same as the last ones. It's going to be 3 at 12. And,
yes, because Dwarves to the end of the turn, yeah.
And that. You're going to like this. Bilbo is going to wound to cancel it. My burglar.
Right. Okay, so giant spiders discards, and I'm at 6, so I draw 2.
I'm at 8.
And no more hazards.
All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you going to do? I'm wondering.
I'm okay. I'm going to enter Biffer, my only untapped guy, but also my guy who's not worth any points, is going to
Yep.
face the attack.
Okay.
He has a 4 versus a 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his body is 7, so you can roll on him.
Okay.
All right, so he's dead.
What is it you're going to do? I didn't ask because I thought, oh no, I've got to wait and see. Oh.
A hobbit, or a character, even a hobbit, may be brought into play with direct influence at any freehold, borderhold, or ruins and lairs. So he comes in, Dwalin comes in under Thorin's direct influence.
Yeah.
And he's untapped. And he taps to find Bilbo's mithril coat.
Ooh.
Sneaky, huh?
I like it.
Sneaky.
Uh,
I need to go.
because it's a greater item.
I forgot to go to the site phase.
I think I've read about that in the rule books quite a few times. The mention of using that chance meeting, but we never seem to have done it.
No, well, the real reason I had it in here was because I was trying to play the 13 dwarves, or I'm not going to play them all because you can only have a company size of 7. But I was going to try to play as many of the dwarves as I could, and once you're away from the haven, that a chance meeting lets you bring the minis there.
Oh.
So it just happened to help in this situation where everyone was all tapped. I died. My one untapped character was the one I was able to push in front of the auto attack, and then I was able to enter the site and do something, which was play the chance meeting and play the character.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I like it.
It's a little Well, he got there somehow before them. They just happened to bump into him at the Lonely Mountain.
Yeah. Oh, it's me for the end of turn discard. Hang on. Didn't draw. Yep.
All right.
So the wizard can tap to bring an item from the sideboard into the discard.
He can take any resource from the sideboard. He can take 1 to the play deck and shuffle it, or 5 to the discard pile. But he can get resources.
I've got a feeling I didn't leave any more. I think I've got them all out already. So can he bring any? Can he bring something from the discard to hand?
Nope.
No.
The mouth of Sauron is really the only way to do that.
Yep.
And that would be with hazards.
Yep. Okay. So really, there's nothing.
If you had an item in your discard pile, I think you can use Farsight to get, or maybe that only looks through the play deck. I can't remember. Never mind.
All right. Okay, I know what I'm going to do.
So they're going to go get Galadriel's dirt.
Yep. So I go into the organised phase. Nothing to do with long events, so movement hazard phase.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so the elves will go to Lorien, so that's a region movement.
So you can either do 4 wilderness, yeah. And so you could draw up to 6 cards if you like with Radagast.
Oh, yeah, that's working well.
Mm-hmm.
So 6, gosh.
So we'll play some wargs. So with a Wake of War out, instead of 2 at 9, it would be 3 at 10.
Okay. Wargs. And now I've got 14 cards, so I've actually got to hover over them to see what they actually are.
Yeah, take your time.
So it's 3 at 10, right? So I've got the talk. So I might just tap Radagast. Tap.
Yeah,
talk and its mirror.
Yeah, it requires the character and the item to tap. Okay. One at 13. So the trolls, remember they were in the Hobbit.
Yep.
So I got the 3 trolls. I don't have anything to enhance them, so you haven't really seen them, I don't think. This is the first one. I think he's the toughest.
Check. So do I have to tap a character to play the Earth of Galadriel?
Mm-hmm. And you do it during the sight phase. It plays just like a regular item, except that it plays at the Haven.
Yep, okay. Alright, so I think I might have a go. So he's 1 at 13. So I've got a risky blow. Oh, so face attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, on 9. I'm gonna let Elra here have a go at it. So I'll tap him. So he's 5, and if I add a risky blow, that'll take him up to 8.
So a 5 will tie it, and a 6 will beat it. Right?
Yeah, I've just got some other enhancers I'm checking. Yeah.
So you can only play 1 card that requires skill when you're facing an attack. Or when they're facing, I should say, when they're facing a strike. Each character can play 1 card that has skill.
Can I take back the risky blow for a moment?
Of course.
Yep. Well, assume that I've taken it back, and I'll play the dodge first.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. No problem. So he stays untapped, and he's up to an 8. But it's going to lower his body by 2. Right? Dodge.
So I haven't really gained anything there, have I? Except to leave him untapped, which
Him untapped.
Which I don't need to. So no, I've got confused there. So I don't mind him being tapped. So I'll tap him back, and I'll take the dodge back.
Okay.
Because it's not actually doing anything. So I have got another risky blow, but I can't play it. All right, so I'll just go ahead with that. Yep. So I'll go 8 versus 13.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Tied it. Yep.
So because it was risky, I now get a body check of 7 instead of 8.
But didn't he tie it?
Oh, did you tie it? I'm sorry. You're good. You're good.
Yep,
I was looking for a 6. I was waiting for you to kill it. And then when you didn't get a 6, I was thinking no. Okay.
So the other one now. Oh, no.
That was it. That was the one. The troll. I don't have any more trolls, but I have the Great Goblin. Yay!
Ah,
One strike at 12. Oh, and
okay.
the Rob Inglis narration.
Yep.
I did not have the Hobbit version, but I picked it up and I'm listening to it now.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, he's excellent.
He's great. Yeah.
The way he does that sort of sneering
Uh huh.
voice when he says that they're friends of elves, likely.
Right.
It's just the classic. It always sticks in my mind the way he said that. Okay, so I've got a risky blow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap Aladdin
Mm-hmm.
and play my other risky blow. So bring him back to an 8.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so I should mouse over him to say he's playing. So 8 versus 12. Oh, so he wounds.
No. So here's the body check that I forgot I was trying to get the last time. So he's a body check
for a
of
good
7.
body check roll.
So the risky blow lowers his body by 1. That's why it's risky.
Yep. Ah, yes.
Well, that would have gotten him either way.
Yep. So he's
removed from game.
Removed from game. Yep.
Finally, the Great Goblin does something.
Yeah.
And I have no more hazards.
And that reduces my character points by 1. Right, and I've got to get back, say, I'm at 12, I've got to lose 4. Okay. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
So they made it there with one character untapped who can play the Earth when you go into your sight phase.
Yep. Okay. So I'm back to 8. Right, so the other company is going to Rivendell.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's a
2/2 draw. Mm-hmm. They passed each other in the mountains. The dwarves going one way and the elves going the other way.
Yeah. So 2 each. Yeah. Okay.
So some more giant spiders.
Yep. What about here? Yep. So Gollum is less than 3 and cancel key to wilderness. So I'll tap Gollum.
Mm-hmm. That's all I have.
Okay. So discard 3. Keep that. Okay.
Get rid of that.
1, 2, 3. Right, so I'm back to hand size, sight phase. These 2 get discarded. So nothing. Yes, the elves are at Lorien in the sight phase, so I play the
Earth.
The Earth and choose a character to carry. We'll make it Cairn.
Mm-hmm.
So he taps. That's no points yet until it gets stored.
Now it does tap the site, oddly enough. Havens always go back to your location deck, but if you had multiple things to play there, you wouldn't be able to play them all on the same turn if they tap the site. So you'd have to leave and come back or something, or bring another character in and start a new site with a new character, and it gets a little rulesy. All right. So we untap everyone. The mithril coat is going back to Bilbo. This is their gift to him.
That's right, yeah.
So to make this check of 3, a corruption check of 3, Thorin is going to tap to give +1. Whoops, wrong button. +1. And now Dwalin has a corruption check of 2. Here you are, Bilbo. The first payment. Now, during the organization phase, Bilbo fully heals.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to tap the site. And we're going to stay put. There's more to this mountain. So you can play Keyed to the Ruins and Layers. We don't draw any cards, but I have a hazard limit of 5.
Okay.
Oh, and the Wake of War is gone.
Oh, yes. Movement hazard. Yep. So I'm just going to check my discard. Yeah, so I'll tap Uther to bring a hazard to hand. I'll do that old sequence, and I'll play Mouth of Sauron as my second.
Sure. Good.
As a short event.
Good.
And I'll bring something back to hand. And close the discards. So that's actually 1, 2.
That's only 2. You've got 3 more.
Oh, yeah, okay. So
don't hold back.
Yeah. So I'll play. No, because I won't be able to key any creatures. Yep, no.
So you can key to Ruins and Layers.
Yes. Unfortunately, I haven't got anything that does. So I didn't mean to do that.
That's okay. Take it back to hand.
Tapping that. Instead, I'm going to discard it. Yeah, so no more hazards.
Okay.
Go back to 8.
So I'll draw back to 8.
Next movement hazard phase.
So I'll go to site phase. Bard is a scout, and he's been keeping his eye on this mountain, and he knows how to get in without facing the automatic attack. So he conceals the automatic attack.
Yep.
And Bilbo is going to sneak around. Oh, I can't do this at a Shadow Hold or Dark Hold. Never mind. He was going to lucky search for something, but that only works at Shadow and Dark. I should have read the card. Never mind. Okay. That was a waste.
Yeah. So you've given me the discard, so I'll discard one. Done.
Okay.
Start turn. Untap all. Orion. Yep. And I'll go back to there. Why did they go to Rivendell? I'm trying to think why I moved my
Your dwarves.
dwarves. Yeah, I must have had a plan.
When
Unless
you
I
were,
discarded.
did you move them away from Moria just to discard the site? Because you're going to get it back in 8 cards.
Yeah, but I moved them to.
To Rivendell specifically. No, I don't know.
No, I don't know why I did that. Okay. So the Earth of Galadriel, yep, so they've got to head back that way, yep, okay. So standard sites.
So when my deck exhausts at 15 cards, that whatever turn that's on, if it's your turn or my turn, that's the last turn of the game.
Oh, you can't keep going.
No. Well, that's the one the no, I'm sorry. I still am thinking we're playing one deck games. That's wrong. Never mind. I have to go through twice for it to automatically end.
Oh, and you're still.
I'm still on the first time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you it's drawing slow.
Yeah. Okay. So Orphan will tap to play the Ford again.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into the organised. I've got no long events to play. Movement hazard. Okay, so the Elves are going back to Rivendell.
Right.
So that'll be region movement.
So again, if you want to, you could draw up to 6.
Yeah, really drawing the cards.
2. I don't have anything for them.
Oh, I know why I moved them now.
You want to change what you're doing, where they're going?
Can I just change the location card for the dwarves?
Sure.
I
go ahead.
I played it with a view to a faction that I didn't have. That's why I forgot what I was doing.
If you were going over to get the Blue Mountain Dwarves, that's fine. Yeah. Switch that card out.
So this one I'll just discard and grab the other one, yeah. So from Rivendell to Blue Mountain, which is in Numenor, yep, so it'll just be... thanks for that.
No problem.
Yep, that's better. All right.
They knew they had something to do.
Yeah, I thought, I must have had some reason to move them across. It was always my plan in the second half that they'd swap over and do something on the opposite side.
Right. Okay.
Right, so hazards.
Oh, you haven't flipped the card over. You didn't flip the card over.
It's my elves moving first.
I'm sorry. Rivendell. I'm sorry. I thought we already did. I said no hazards for them.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, I've got to go back to hand size. Right. Hang on.
Yeah, it was right after you drew your 6 cards. I had no hazards.
Right. Yep. Still 2 more. Alright. So the other company is moving
Right.
to the Blue Mountains.
So that's not a /P because the Grey Havens is the nearest haven, and you're moving from Rivendell.
Okay.
So I'll draw 1.
And I can draw.
You draw 1 for them, right?
Right.
Huh.
And that's a freehold.
Yeah. So I'm looking at cards to play here. And I think I'll go ahead and play him. Keyed to the Wilderness.
Yeah. Expecting the Golem.
Yeah, I know. He's going to cancel it.
He's handy, that Golem.
He is. You've got him in the right company. I'm just playing cards to get them out of my hand. I'm going to play Greed on the site, even though you're not playing any items there. Unless you wanted to get a minor item when you got the faction, the Greed would not trigger.
Okay.
And I'll also play a River, which Owen can tap to cancel because he's probably not your faction influencer. But anyway, those are my cards. And I'll say no more hazards.
If a company moves and it does not tap around, it must do nothing in its side phase. Oh, right, but Owen will be able to. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got to go back to.
If I could have gotten Owen tapped somehow, the River would have been effective. But like I said, I was just playing those to get them out of my hand.
Yep. So I'm back to 8.
And I am too.
Side phase, discard the Haven. Right, so the storing will happen on the next turn, but I can try to
get your faction.
Yep. So Dwarves +2, but I'm not getting any adder from my.
His direct influence is completely used on Owen, right? And he gets a +2 against the Iron Hill Dwarves, but he has +1 direct influence against men and man factions. He's the one that doesn't work on dwarves, he works on men. But he gets the +2 on the Blue Mountain Dwarf faction card for being a dwarf. So you need to roll greater than a 7.
Yeah.
Unless you have a diplomat card. If you've got one of your diplomat cards.
I discarded it, yeah. That was a mistake. Alright, so
greater than
a 7.
There you go.
You got lucky. So score and 3 faction. And I have to tap the character in the site?
Yes.
Yep. So it could be either one, couldn't it?
Well, you would have tapped Owen.
Not the Owen.
You would have tapped Owen to cancel the River, and then Dane was the one who had to get the faction. So they actually are both tapped, along with the Blue Mountain Dwarfhold.
Tap arrange to prevent key to wilderness. The Ford comes away, and there's nothing else doing it. The other one, so into the end of turn.
They'll store that in the organization phase next turn.
One card. Give you the discard. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have to do a redeck. So I drew my card, so I can go ahead and redeck.
Okay, go ahead. Do you want to sideboard again? 5 in and 5 out?
I'll just have a look at my sideboard.
Sure. You don't have to do 5. You can do as many in as out as you want, up to 5. And again, they don't have to be matching hazard to hazard or resource to resource. You can move any 5 in and any 5 out.
Yeah, I will grab a couple. So let me see if I can remember how to do it.
Okay.
I draw them into my play deck first of all.
So first you'll get the cards from your sideboard. So you click on the blank play deck and then sideboard and then just drag them one at a time. Right? You got it?
Yep. And then I open the discard, click on play, and move to sideboard.
Right. And then you'll get a little crosshairs, and you click the cards, and then you have to do that once for each card.
Right. So this time I can put Palando away.
Mm-hmm.
And I open the discard again, click on play, move to sideboard. And I'll grab one of the characters. Right, and so now I can go redeck.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Yeah, great. So, and I've finished my turn.
All right. Well, it turns out we found everything we thought we could at the Lonely Mountain, so we're going to have to go do some dragon hunting. Well, I'm doing the click on regions instead of sites, so you now know I'm going to the Withered Heath.
So I'll start planning some surprises.
All right. Okay, we're organized. That's everybody. We're going to go to the movement hazard phase, and we're going to go to the caves of Ulund. So that's in the Withered Heath. So we're going northern Ravanian to Withered Heath to a Ruins and Layers. You can draw 3, and I have a hazard limit of 5.
Hazard limit 5, right. Yeah. So the Wake of War comes out. And the Walks. So that's 3 at 10. To Wilderness.
Bilbo is going to hide us from them.
Okay. And I will say no more hazards.
Wow. All right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Sight phase. So we enter. So there's one strike at 13. I'm going to let Bard face it. He's going to tap. So he is a 6, 7, 8. Tied it.
Well done.
Done facing.
Good
Okay.
judgment.
And we happen to find another dwarf who also comes in under Thorin's control. He's a 1-minder because Thorin has +2 direct influence against dwarves and dwarf faction, so he can hold up to 4 mind of dwarves. So he finds another dwarf and says, "Well, what are you doing here? We were supposed to meet up at the Lonely Mountain."
Yeah.
I got confused. Okay, so Thorin taps
I think that's meant to be.
and finds the Arkenstone. And Dory says, while we were here, I found this minor item. I think it belongs to Bilbo. And that's the turn. So he gets, the Arkenstone is worth 5 points held by a dwarf.
Yep.
Sting is worth nothing, but it is a minor item that Bilbo wants. So I'm going to draw back to hand size.
So I've got the option of discarding. No, I'm not going to do that.
All right.
Okay. Also at Rivendell. So they've got to move to Bag End. Dwarves are at the Blue Mountain. Yep. And I'll want them to go there. Yep. So 1, 2, 3. Yep. Okay. I'll tap Orphan to play forward.
He's good at that.
Yeah, it's working well. The Wake of War's got to stay. I think I'm organised. Hazard phase. So if I go Radagast first, he's going to get more cards. No, we'll do the Dwarves first.
All right.
Change. So they're going back to Rivendell.
Back to Rivendell.
So So that's region movement. That's Greyhaven is the newest one.
Good. So I'd get one card.
One card each, yep.
So I put this, I didn't have really any corruption in here, but I put this in because it looks like Gandalf and Bilbo sitting outside of Bilbo's front door when he first meets him from the Hobbit.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that's a fair card to put in a Hobbit deck. So that's on Dane.
Yes.
And he will, at his untap phase, he will make a check because he'll be at a haven. So next turn he would have that check.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put another one. I drew both of these. So when I was saying I don't think I have any corruption in here, I forgot about these cards, but that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going
so I'm
to...
at 8. I'm going to discard Blue Mountain Dwarfhold. Okay, so the other company... Oh, you're back to hand, yep. Is going to bag end, so that's a /P.
Right.
And so 2 plus 2 is 4 draw for me and 2 for you.
I have no hazards, unfortunately.
Okay, so I've got to discard 8.
I didn't put any assassins in here because they didn't show up in The Hobbit.
Okay, yep.
That would be the card to play here when you're moving to bag end, but not very thematic Hobbit storyline.
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, I had no hazards for them.
2 more. Alright, so side phase. When do I have to do that? I have to do it
when they untap. The lure, they check. They make their check when you untap. After they untap at a haven.
Yep. Alright, so I'm at bag end. So I'll store the Earth of Galadriel.
That will store in your organization phase next turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so in that case, there's nothing happening. So we're going to end of turn.
Right.
And I'll just draw 1. Get this card. Oh, no, I shouldn't have drawn that card. I'll put it back in the play deck.
Okay. Sure.
And shuffle. And give you the discard.
Alright, so I'll discard and draw 1. Done. Alright. Dory's going to give Sting to Bilbo. He only needs to beat a 2, so he's got a corruption check of 2.
Yeah.
Bilbo's got all his goodies now. He's got his ring, he's got his mithril coat, he's got his sword.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the ring, the coat, and the sword.
And the cloak is not really that thematic, but I figured I had to try to keep him alive.
Yep.
So, we're going to move to Mount Gundabad. We're going to just run across the top of the map. So, Withered Heath, Grey Mountain Narrows, Anduin Vales, and Gundabad. And you can draw 3. I can draw 2, and it's a shadow hold. Now the hazard limit is 6.
Don't see those. So you don't see too many shadow holds being offered up?
Right. That's mostly undead will attack there. And orcs.
Oh, and my Wake of War comes off, doesn't it? That would have come off in your long event phase.
Mm-hmm.
And that forward must be from my last turn.
Right.
Alright. So
yeah, this time you have a hazard limit of 6.
Alright, so I'll play Mouth of Sauron as a creature.
Ah! Well, let's see if we can fight him. Bard, do what you can do here. He's a 6 versus a 13.
Yep.
Okay, now I have to. So he got a 14, but I have to roll greater than an 8 on his body.
Yep. You could do that.
No.
Okay, so he discards. No, not moving. There he goes. Alright, and I'll play Uvatha as a creature.
Alright. Uvatha as a creature.
So he's 1 at 15.
I feel a little cheap doing this, but Dory is going to escape it.
Righto. Do you believe that that's it?
That's it.
No
okay.
Yeah, it's good. Unusual, but
so
it's true.
Discard 1 down to 8. I'll discard the caves and go to the sight phase. So it's an orc auto attack here. We're going to enter. Thorin and Glowin will face the 2 at 8. Glowin is a 5 plus 1 prowess against orcs is 6. So he's automatic tapping.
Yep.
And Thorin is a 5 plus 3 prowess against orcs. So not tapping, yep. He stays at a 5. He taps the shield to go up to a 6. And so he's automatic. The worst he could do is tie it.
Yep.
Now, Thorin will tap and get even more corruption, but it is thematically his sword. He's got the Orcrist, he's got the Arkenstone. He's got a lot of corruption.
Yeah.
So that's 4 item points. That sight taps. And Bilbo, now that we are at a shadow hold, is going to try to lucky search. So he's a scout. It is a scout only. During the sight phase, tap a scout at a tapped or untapped shadow hold or dark hold. Turn over cards from your play deck one at a time until you reveal a non-special item. Well, Reswitz has this script programmed in. So I tap Bilbo and I click on Lucky Search, and it will show me cards until it gets to a non-special item, and it will tell me how many there are. Search. Oh my gosh.
What's it?
It went to 32 cards. It turned over 32 cards before it found an item. So there's no way he can pass this. He's gonna have to wound. He discards the item.
I'm not following all this. Where's the 32 come from? Is that come off the?
It came off the top of my deck. Yeah, my play deck. I thought there were more items in my deck, but what it does is it turns cards over one at a time until it gets to a non-special item. Well, it had to turn over 32 cards before it got to a ring. And so Bilbo has to face an attack equal to the prowess. The prowess is equal to 3 plus the number of revealed cards. So he faced a prowess 35. So there was no way.
Yeah.
So you get a body check on him. His body is a 10 with the mithril coat.
Okay. So yeah, okay. I'm with you now.
He was getting greedy.
Oh my goodness.
And that's it.
32.
Yeah, I've never seen that many cards have to turn over.
That's real. Interesting card.
Yeah.
Quite a bit to it.
It's fun if you load the deck with items. But I put it in there because I thought thematically, I've got a lot of rings in here for him to pick up. Maybe he'd find a ring, but it was 32 cards down into the deck. Yeah, it should have been like 3 or 4 cards down for him to be able to fight it and keep the item.
Yeah.
Because if he faces whatever strike he faces, if he's wounded by it, he can't play the item. The item discards.
At the end of the untap, so I untap all, and then I have to do these corruption checks.
They each have a check. Dane has a check of 5, and Owen has a check of 4. But they can tap to support each other because they have untapped in the untap phase.
Okay.
And don't forget, Dane is a diplomat, so he can play diplomat cards to help with corruption checks, if you have any.
Yeah, I have got one this time. Yep. All right, but he'll need to tap to play that. Or will he? No, it doesn't say he has to tap.
No,
I've got
no.
a new friendship, so he'll get a...
So is he going to use that for his own check?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's good. Yeah, he would be the one that you would want to protect above Owen, who's only worth 1 point.
All right, so Owen will go first. So he's got 3 points, but he's a -1, so he's a corruption check of 4. So Dane taps.
Right, and makes it a 3.
So it's a CC 3. Yep.
And then you play your friendship.
New friendship. And Owen taps. So that's giving me a +3 to the 5. So it's a corruption check of...
right. 2.
2, yeah. I've got to beat a 2. Okay.
Good.
Okay, heavens. So discard that. So that happened at the end of the untap phase.
So now during the organization phase, they can attempt to remove those cards by rolling, but they'll need to subtract 3 because they're already tapped. So to get rid of each, they would need to roll greater than a 9. But it's a free roll because they're already tapped. Yeah. So there's no reason not to.
Okay, so Oin first.
Uh-huh. Got it.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
That was a bonus. Yeah. I should have said Dane first. Okay, now Dane.
I mean, that's what I meant. I meant Dane. Dane first.
No.
And if they stay at the Haven, he would have another check if he had another untap phase.
Yeah, it's getting a bit dodgy. Because what I wanted to do was, I was thinking...
He's got all your allies.
Store.
You're thinking what?
Could I... Of storing the axe.
Yeah, that's you're going to have another check at 5.
If I do that, yeah. But the problem is, if I could move away and wait to get a diplomat card that will help with the corruption check when I move back.
Or you could do this. You could so you finish the untap phase. You tried to remove corruption cards. You can store the Earth of Galadriel's Orchard. That's only a corruption check of 2.
Yep. 1, 2. Yep. So I'll do that now.
So that's worth 2 item points in your marshalling point pile.
So I'll score that one. Yep.
Now this company could meet up with the other company, and they could help him.
Give him support.
Yeah, give him support if he wants to store it next turn. The only thing about storing the axe is it's worth 2 points when it's held, 2 extra points when it's held by a dwarf. It's only worth 2 points if you store it, but when a dwarf is holding it, it's worth 4 points. So it's really to your advantage, point-wise, to keep it on a dwarf. But if they all joined up, they could support his corruption check, either when he has one with the Lure of the Senses, or if you decide to store it. But I wouldn't try storing it this turn. That would lose way too many points. He's worth 2. You got 4 from the axe is 6. 7, 8 with Gwahir. 9, 10 with Gollum. And those others actually would double. So he's basically worth 14 points to you.
No, I'm going to go. They're going to help him out. And Orphan will tap and play the Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm organised. The movement has phase. Now I am down to 6, so I could move them first. So the dwarves will move first.
Right, and I have nothing to play on them, so I'll just say no hazards.
Okay, so I draw back to 8. And now the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
To Rivendell. So that's going to be a /P.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
2 cards each.
4 for me.
4 for you, yeah.
Hoping to get some good diplomat cards. Yeah.
I'm just looking at what I've got to play, and I don't think anything here is really worth playing, but I'll play it anyway. So it's just 3 strikes at 8. Wolf attack. Key to the wilderness.
I've got the forward.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. No hazards.
No hazards, right. So I've got to go back.
That forward is coming in handy this whole game. Because just about all my creatures key to wilderness.
On the flip side, I chose not to play any cards that force corruption checks, so that sort of worked well.
Yeah.
With your theme.
Well, Thorin is really sitting on a lot of corruption right now. He's got 1, 5. He's got 7 corruption points on him.
Okay, so I'm into the site. They've both moved now, haven't they? Yep. So into the site phase, and nothing. Yeah, nothing is happening. So end of turn. My relative numbers of cards, yeah. Okay, I'll discard that and draw. Give you the end of turn.
Discard 1 and draw 1. Done. All right.
Hey, are you still on your first deck?
No, I redecked.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
redecked.
I was going to say.
I just didn't shuffle anything in or out from the sideboard.
Yeah.
So Thorin is going to give the Arkenstone to Glowin. He has a check of 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to go 6, 5, 4.
Yeah.
So a corruption check of 4.
Yeah.
Which did I say he was giving him? The Arkenstone?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right, that's what I meant to say. Now he's only got 3 corruption, and Glowin has 4. Glowin has +3 direct influence against dwarves and dwarf factions with the Arkenstone. Yep. He also gets +1 direct influence against dwarves and dwarf factions. So he can hold 4 mind worth of dwarves in addition to his direct influence of 2 holding bard. So I'm gonna put these 2 at the end just so it doesn't
Yep.
It doesn't overlap our table too much. But they're all 3 of these, Bard, Dwalin, and Dory, are all under Glowin's control, since he's got the Arkenstone.
13, 18, yeah, so you're still at 18.
So I've got a 5, an 8, and a 5 eating into my general influence. So I have 2 free general influence. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you want, I can put Dwalin and Dory in Glowin's column, but it does.
No.
We'll have to zoom out, and it will make it harder to follow this.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and do I have enough to do that? I don't think I do. He's a 3-minder. Yeah, he's a 3-minder. Dang it. Never mind. He'll stay in my hand. I wanted to build up my company there, but we'll just go ahead and move to Rivendell.
Do some healing.
We're going to do worse than that. We're going to try to influence some things over there from you because you have all my allies. I feel really, this is like, it doesn't feel fair to do influencing against your opponent's things. I already stole your faction, the Iron Hill Dwarves. And now what I want to do is I want Thorin to influence Dane away and make you discard Dane and all of the cards he controls, all the non-follower cards he controls, which would be the axe and both allies.
Yep.
It's a really kind of a cutthroat move. But
it's interesting to see it in action.
Yeah, if you'll forgive me for doing it.
Yeah, no, I don't mind.
Okay.
I see the mechanisms then.
Yeah, but like I said, I had friends that used to do this to each other all the time, to the point where they would put the Wizard's Laughter card straight into their deck to protect themselves from getting stuff stolen and influenced away. And it really changes the dynamic of the game.
So I've got to draw 3.
So I got a movement hazard. You can draw 3, right?
Right. And it's a dark domain. Shadow hold and wilderness. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So what you want to do is you want to tap Thorin. If you tap Thorin, he cannot make an influence attempt against your guy.
Did I forget to put the fort away again? I must have
done.
Yep. Every time I look,
it's like the Wake of War. It's on the table more than it's not. So if you have any of your Nazgul or any of those cards that play Keyed to the Dark or the Shadow, Thorin is the only guy that I have to face it. So if you had like one really tough creature, Thorin has to face it. If you have wolves or spiders or things that spread out, Thorin might be able to face his without tapping, because he's a 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
You only got 1 wilderness. That's a bit of a shame. That cuts out my spiders because they need 2 wilderness. And my watcher in the water. So that's a shame. So what about the wargs?
Okay, so the wargs.
3 at 10.
3 at 10. So I choose Thorin to face 1, and you can pick any of my other characters. Any 2.
Okay. So Bilbo's a good option. And 5, 7. Yeah, well, I suppose Gloin.
Okay. So we'll do Bilbo first. He is a 0 with Sting. He's a -1 wounded, but Sting gives him +2, so he's back up to his. What did I say? He's a 0 or he's a 1? He's a 1. No, he's a 0, facing a 10.
Yep.
Okay, now his body is a 9. He's wounded. His body with the mithril coat takes him up to a 10, but wounding down, is back down 1.
Okay.
Oh, you got him. You got him. More corruption.
Sorry.
So I cannot give anything to wounded characters. But everybody else is free to loot the body. I'm going to let Sting go because that wasn't worth anything except its corruption. I'll put the mithril coat. Jeez. Put it on Bard. He needs it the most. And I'll put the ring on Dwaylen. And then I'll just remove him from game. So that's another 2 points that I'm losing at the end of the game. Between my wizard and my dead hobbit, my hero hobbit, that's -7 points.
Going to take a bit of adding up all this.
I know.
Come to the council.
Jeez. Okay, so Thorin.
There's a few big corruption checks to be done as well. Could swing it all around.
Thorin is going to face his attack, and he's not tapping, so he is a 6. He goes up to he's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not tapping is down to a 6 versus a 10.
Yeah.
Okay. And Glowin is a 4 versus a 10. All right.
He's a 7.
Yeah.
Oh, my body checks were good.
Who do I give the Arkenstone to? Oh, jeez. Let's do this.
It's a 4 if it goes to a dwarf.
Yeah, it's gone to a dwarf. It's gone to a dwarf.
Come back to 4. Yeah. Oh, so he's back up to 4, 5, 7.
He's got 7 again, yeah.
Alright, so that's the end of the.
So that's the end of the wargs. They did quite a nasty
sort of
slaughter there.
They didn't get Thorin tapped though, but unfortunately, because you've only gone through one wilderness, I'm going to have to say no more hazards.
Okay. So I have to discard some cards here.
When does influence happen in the sight phase?
Yes. You're allowed to do one influence attempt, or if you're playing against an opposite alignment, like if you're playing against the minions, you can have one company versus company combat. My company could fight your company if you are minions and I'm heroes. But you can't do both attack and an influence attempt.
Right.
But because Thorin now has the Arkenstone, he has 2 direct influence free. He has +2 direct influence against dwarves and dwarf factions on his card, so that's 4. The Arkenstone gives him +3 direct influence against dwarves and dwarf factions, so that's 7. Oops, wrong card. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So he has plus 15. So you get to add Dane's Mind and your free general influence, which is 12. So I have 3 to add to my roll, and I have to beat your roll.
But am I allowed to do any other modifiers? Like,
not really, no. What do you have? What do you have?
I've got a new friendship, but that's not a. Well, it says +3 to a 1 influence check. So does that?
Yeah,
apply?
why don't you go ahead and play that, and we'll call it an even roll, and I just have to beat.
But hang on, didn't we say it's only if I'm doing the influencing, not being influenced?
Yeah, that's technically correct.
What's the correct playing of the card?
The correct playing of the card is that you, because it is not your turn, you cannot play resources.
Oh, right. Oh, that's easy. Yeah. No. Well, no. That's the rule.
So it gives me a 3. It gives me a 3 addition to my whatever I roll, and I have to beat yours. If we tie, nothing happens. But if I win,
right,
Dane and all of his stuff goes away.
Yep, and you're +3. Yep,
I'm plus 3. So I have a 9. So if you roll a 9...
So I've got a tie 9.
Yeah.
I can do this.
You got it.
Yes!
You got it. Nice.
When you said 15, I thought, it's all over.
No. Well, like I said, I have to beat his mind, and I have to beat his mind and your free GI and your roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was all he had. That was unfortunate, but best I could do.
That was a pretty good attempt.
So now let me total up my...
out with those a friend or 3 times 2.
Yeah, I need to total, and it works when you get a big company. But see, you killed half my guys on the way there. I would have had +4 more to my roll with Bilbo and Glowin, because I played 2 friend or 3s. So each one would add another 2 to my roll. So I would have been +7 over you instead of +3.
Yeah, that would have done the job.
So I've got 3 character points. Jeez, I got hurt there. I've got 5 and 4 is 9. 13, 14, 15, 16 item points. That's right. 4 faction, 3 kill. Yeah. Okay. And I've got too many item points right now anyway, because I could only have up to 13. Only half of my total points can be item.
Yep. Alright, so these guys are all together. So first of all, I've done the untap. So I've got the Lure of the Senses.
Right, so untap.
Haven.
Untap everybody.
Oh, I haven't done untap yet. Yep, I didn't untap everyone. Yep.
Now, he's got to check at 5, but you can tap any of the other characters to help him.
I've got a few options here. So I've also got
your friendship. Yeah.
It's going to give me a +4, and I've got a new friendship, which is a +2. So I've got a +4, a +2, and the characters to tap. So I want to.
You don't need to tap anybody. You can just play the old friendship, and he's fine.
Okay, well, I might as well do that. So
and now he's untapped, and he can tap to try to remove the Lure of the Senses, and he just needs greater than a 6 instead of a 9 like last time, because he and Owen were helping each other pass their checks.
This is just the check, isn't it?
This is just the check, and it's automatic. The card's
still there.
But now he can tap to try to remove the card itself, and he'll need a 7. And there's not really any bonuses to that.
can I use the new friendship?
Not to remove a corruption card. It only helps when you have to make a corruption check.
Right. So it's on.
So you need a 7. Greater than a 6. Tapping to do it.
I'm tapping.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just no help. So I need a greater than a 6. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
Thank heavens.
That was the way to do it.
It's a relief.
He is lucky. Let's put it that way. Between not being influenced away, between not corrupting away, knocking the corruption card off, carrying the item, carrying both your allies, he's hanging in there.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering whether to store the Juveron's axe now. He would have to do another corruption check, but it would only be 3.
Correct.
Hate for that card to come back again. Because you could have another one. You could have 3 of them.
Yeah, I think I just had the 2, but I don't have any in hand. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But you're right. He's pretty valuable to you between his character points and his ally points.
The fact that he's got both the allies, I'm thinking I'm pushing my luck. So I think I will.
You could always move the dagger off of Owen and give him Durin's axe. He would still have 4 corruption to beat, but if you kept the other guys untapped, they would tap to support him. Like if you called for the free council, and it would still be worth those full 4 points instead of only 2 if you store it.
It'd be evening it up. Oh no! What he's Dane's at 3 at the moment, isn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So
that's not bad. But you're talking about possibly having another corruption card thrown on him.
And they are. Yep. Okay. All right. So I'll work out what I'm doing with my movements. I've got the Wood Elves.
You can get there.
+1. Yep. So I'll grab that card, which is in. Where is Thranduil's Hall again?
Where is what?
Where's Thranduil?
Thranduil's Halls is in the Woodland Realm, which is on the top of the forest. So you'd go through Rudour, High Pass, Anduin Vales, and Woodland Realm.
And got the Book of Marsable, so I'll head to Moria with the other company, which is in the Red Horn Gate. Come back into play. Haven't got a river for a change.
Or a ford, you mean?
Ford, yeah. I'll organise the Wake of War. I feel as if I did play that last turn, didn't I? Yeah. So that stays on. So into the movement hazard phase. 6 of 1. I'll move the Elves first.
All right.
So that's going to be a region movement.
Okay, we'll draw. You can draw 4. I can draw 2.
Yep. And
Play that. So
I got the wolves out.
with the Wake of
3 at
War,
8.
with the Wake of War, that takes it up to 4 at 9.
Oh, yeah. 4 at 9. So if I don't cancel it, which I can't, they've all got to face 1. So I'm facing the attacks. Start on locale 9. So 5.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try and keep 1 untapped. But it's not going to be right here, so I'll tap him. I'll just check what enhances I've got. Yep. Okay, so he'll...
So he's a 5 versus a 9.
Yep, so he'll just go straight.
Nice.
Yep. So next character.
Mm-hmm.
So
He'd be
I only need to leave 1 untapped.
If he taps, he's a 7. If he doesn't, he's a 4.
But it's the... Where's the card gone? I said I'm playing the Elves, didn't I?
Yeah. The Wood Elves.
Oh, there they are at the end there, yeah. So I want to leave an elf untapped to get the +1. So he's the one to leave untapped.
And look at Orifin's card. He has -1 to all of his corruption checks. He also has -1 to influence checks against factions. He's not very persuasive. So Círdan would be the guy you would want to do it.
Yep. So he's
or your wizard with 8. Or your wizard with 8 free direct influence.
Oh yes. So he could do it a lot easier. So he'd be a better one, really. Yep. Okay, so then I can afford to just check what my enhancers are. I've got a dodge and I've got a block. So they're both ones that say stay untapped.
Mm-hmm.
So probably worth using one of those.
You could use them on each of them and keep both of them untapped to be ready for whatever hazards come next.
Yep.
Because Radagast can always, if you get a bad hazard, a bad creature, Radagast can always tap the Torque of Hughes to cancel whatever comes next if he stays untapped against these wolves.
But if he taps, then I would need Círdan untapped to play the Elves. Oh yes, and he will be untapped, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I'll play a block.
Mm-hmm. So he's a 7 versus a 9?
Yep.
Got it. Good.
And other locale, which is 11. So Orifin is going to tap. So he's at 2 versus 9.
So this is where we see if you get your point or not. Oh, look at that. All right. And Radagast?
So now I play the dodge.
Uh-huh.
So he's a 6 versus 9.
Right. And a 4 will give you a kill point.
Yep.
You got it.
So done facing, they discard. And a kill point. Alright, what's next?
You move through 2 wilderness, right? And no ford. I'll play this. Oh, score the wolves.
Oh yeah.
So Tom, another troll. So he's 1 at 13.
13.
No body, so
I could tap Radagast and the Torque.
yes, you could.
To cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could try... Yeah, no, I'll do that. Oh, but then he's the one that's got all the direct influence.
Right, so it's up to you. Círdan will get the bonus for being an elf, But he's using his
Plus he gets
4.
+2.
He's using his 4 to control Elra here.
So he'd be +2, +1 is he'd be +3 to beat 8. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I'll do that. Yep.
All right. And that's all I had.
Okay, so I've got to discard 1.
I'm kind of glad I didn't influence Dane away.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because that always feels so cheap. I mean, it's a mechanism of the game, but
it's a valid thing. Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
let me show you what I have in my hand.
Yeah.
I have to play them on a character.
I see head Gollum and Gwaihir. Unreal. It's amazing how they overlapped these two decks.
Well, like I said, I wanted to play The Hobbit, the story of The Hobbit, and I figured those are the only real allies that show up. I could get Roak the Raven, but these two were the preferred.
Yep.
All right. Sorry, I'm interrupting your turn.
So that was that movement on back to 8. So the other guys are going to Moria.
All right.
So I can discard that one. So they're going from Rivendell. So that's region movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So I draw 3.
And I'll draw 2.
Hazard limit of 2.
Okay, so I'll use Gollum.
Yes, pesky Gollum. No hazards. That's all I had.
I think that's a good reason to go ahead and try and get rid of Gollum, yeah. Because I keep cancelling those attacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got to discard 2. That one can go. So into the site phase. Okay, so Kierden has got +2. Oh, so I play the card onto the table. He's got +2, +1 for being an elf. Is +3.
Where's the +2? He has a +2 direct against the Elves of Linden, that specific faction.
Oh, I've got the wrong faction in my mind. Yes,
You got the Elves of Linden. He got the Elves of Linden in already, but with his 4 direct influence controlling Elra here, he only gets the bonus as printed on the faction card for being an elf.
Yep.
So he would need greater than a 7, or if you've got more of those diplomat cards.
Yeah, I have. I've got Lordly Presence.
There you go. Play that.
Yep.
So that's +6.
To roll, and I've got to get greater than a 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm +6, greater than 8.
Got it.
Yep. Okay, so score. Discard that.
Nicely done.
3.
So then he taps and the site taps, and then you can do Moria if you like, if you want.
No, I haven't got any minor items. All right, and at Moria, 4 at 7.
And you do have 2 allies, so those would be your 4 to face the strikes: Owen, Dane, Gwaihir, and Gollum.
Okay.
A Dark Quarrels would cancel the Orc auto attack, or...
I haven't got that. I I think I'll have a go at this.
Okay.
Okay, so Oin, he's got the dagger.
So he's got +1 against orcs. He's a 3, so he would be a 5 versus a 7 if he taps. Or
but then
he'd be a 2. He'd be a 2 without tapping, and he'd need to roll a 5.
But I've got to keep him untapped to play the book.
Right. So he would stay untapped, and you'd need to roll a 5.
So tap, so it's versus 7. So untapped is 0 plus 1 plus 1 is 2. Yeah, so you'd have to roll a 5. Yep, okay. So 2 versus 7.
Got it.
Okay, so Gollum
is a 1.
1 versus 7. Because he's already tapped.
Good.
Yep. And Gwahir.
Gwahir can tap, and he'd be a 4.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And Dana's automatic.
Yeah, because he's 4 plus.
He's got +2 prowess against orcs, and he's got the axe, which gives him a +4.
Yep.
He's
Yep. Doing it easy. All right. So I didn't put that I was entering, but we know I'm entering.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you just face the auto attack. I know.
So I tap.
Owen.
And I play and click the character. So that means he's got 3 minus 1, so he's got 4 corruption on him at the moment. So
it's worth 1 point.
Stored for 5, yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's worth 1 point to you now.
And I tap the side. And I finish, so I go into end of turn.
Alright.
+4 corruption. Yep, I keep that card, so draw back to 8. And end of turn, discard. Have you got much more that you wanted to do with the deck? I'm tempted to call the council.
No, I've seen and done everything that's going to happen this game.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll call the council at the end of that my last turn.
That's good.
So that Wake of War comes...
Will come on. You can take it off now if you want.
Yep.
So Keeley comes in. Let me do some organizing here.
Yep.
I've got 3, 8 is 11. I've got 5 free.
My corruption situation. Diane's got 3. And the one's at a 4. So I'm going to keep corruption check. Enhances.
We're going to try this one more time. We're organized. I have 4 character points now. But I'm down.
Are you going to come after Dane again?
I'm going to have to. That's the only hope I have. But I don't have any real way to get him, so it's not likely. Unless I draw some... So we're just going to go see what happens. So you can draw 3. I can draw 2.
Okay. Oh, my play deck's expired. Pretty sure there's nothing I want out of it, so just do a read deck.
All right. That's the 3rd time you've gone through it, right?
Yeah.
I told you, You put all the combat enhancer cards in there, and I'm playing pure creatures, so you're getting all of those cards going through quickly. Look at all the kill points you got too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad.
All right. So 1, 2, 3.
Has a limit of 5.
And wilderness this time.
Yeah, all the wilderness
better.
you want to hit me with.
Okay, so I'll bring the Wake of War out. I'll bring Dwar out.
Mm-hmm.
That would leave me with 3. I'm playing that. Okay. I'll try the Huon, so that's just 1 at 10.
Oh, geez. Let's I'm looking at Thorin here. He's got I think we'll face it. I think Thorin will face it. He's a 5, 6, plus 3 more with the sword is up to a 9. Not tapping is back down to a 6.
Okay.
What we do? It's a 9. It's a 10. So 6 versus 10.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then I'll come out with the giant spiders.
Okay.
And I'll tap. Oh,
Keely is going to tap.
Spiders.
Keely is going to tap and conceal that.
Ah.
My scout, one of my scouts. I've got 3 scouts.
Yep. Yep. I've got a tuna fill. Say, as a permanent event, he remains in play until tapped during the opponent. And who chooses the tapped character?
You do.
The character.
You do.
I do.
Now is that the hazard limit? You played Wake of War, Dwarf,
Wake of
Huorn.
I think that that's 5, isn't it? So
Huorn,
I can't tap him.
Spiders, and a Dunafell is 5.
Yep. Okay.
If you'd rather back it up and play another creature, that's fine.
No, I haven't got one.
Okay.
Yep. So that's no more hazards.
All right.
So draw back.
I was kind of hoping you would play more creatures so I could keep playing cards out of my hand.
Really?
Because I didn't draw any Friender 3s. I'm pretty sure they're in the discard pile. But we're going to go ahead and go into the site phase and enter. And I think Dwalin is going to just wound and escape it. And Thorin is going to try to influence Dane again. So he's got 2 direct influence free. He's got +2 against dwarves and dwarf factions. And he's got +3 with the Arkenstone against dwarves. So that's 7. So that negates Dane's mind, basically. So I don't have to beat the 7. I've got +7 against his mind of 7. You get to add your free GI, which is 5 to a roll. So I need to roll 6 better than you to get him. Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's it. Oh, and I just drew a friend or three at the end of my turn. Ah. Okay. So we have
So
corruption checks now.
So I'll discard one and draw one in case I get something that'll help me.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. So I go first since I had the last turn. He's got 4, 5, 6, 7 on him, and we'll play a friend or three. So he has a corruption check of 2 to beat.
Yep. That was handy having that.
I'll tap Bard to give him +1. Whoops,
so
wrong way.
Short.
So he's automatic.
That's all.
Now Bard has 3.
Yep. No one to tap.
And Dwalin has a -1 and 1 point, so he's got a 2. And that's it.
Alright, so Kieran's fine. Is Redick? Oh, Redick guess is +1, so
yeah,
he's
fine. He's fine.
Oin, he's at a 4, but no one to tap to help him, and Dane is...
Dane is at a 3.
He's at a 3, and I have got a old friendship.
All right.
So, but only can be used by a diplomat.
He's a diplomat.
So, yeah, so he can use that to cover it.
It will actually work on... He can use it... someone else in his company can get a +4.
Oh, well, in that case, he'd use it. But
he's worth the most. Points? It's up to you who you want to use it on.
Oh, because I'm not going to be storing the Book of Marsable, so it's only worth 1. So, yeah, so it's better to use it on Dane. Yep, I'll use it on Dane, so he's automatic. So Oin's got a 4.
Right.
Corruption check of 4.
Got it.
Okay. I think we'll go through and see whether my points are right. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter, does it? Because you've got to take off the 5 and the...
I've got to take off 7.
2 is 7.
I've got to take off... I got to take off 2 item points straight away because... Excuse me, 3 item points because I can't have more than half of them total my... let's see. Yeah, see, if I have 14 item points, that's too many for 26 marshalling points. So I have to go down to 13 item points. And I have to go down... I'm going to adjust my total MPs from 25. I'm going to take 5 off for my wizard, and then 2 more for dead Bilbo. And then you get to add 4 more ally points. Take your allies from 4 up to 8. Because they double, because I had none. But then I get to reveal these from my hand.
Oh yes, both your.
So those lower your points by 1, by each one by 1. So you go down from 41 to 39. But you still more than doubled.
Oh, so there was a lot of points in that game.
Good game. Look at my dead pile.
Oh. What I wanted to try and do that I didn't manage to do was to play the combination of the Corsairs plus the Mumak.
Oh, wow. That would be great.
But in all that time, I don't think I missed an opportunity to do it. I often had the 2 cards in hand, but...
Well, knowing that I'm running the Hobbit storyline, I'm trying to move as far away from that end of the map as I can, going across to the right to the Lonely Mountain.
Yeah, you
I
just
was
went.
not going to use the Barrow Downs or any more Cardolan than I had to, just to stay thematic to the
Mm,
story that I was trying to play, but it didn't work very well.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
good game. That was a
yeah,
lot of
the
fun. I actually enjoyed playing it out a lot longer than like you could have called it much earlier, and
but I wouldn't have
didn't.
seen all the theme.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you gave me a chance. You gave me a couple of chances to almost get Dane out of there. So good game.
which would have been a big swing. You might have ended up winning.
Oh, it really would have been a big swing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. So there was a bit of tension there. I also brought in muster dispersers from the sideboard. I
Uh
had the
huh.
plan of trying to get
Uh huh.
those dwarves back.
That would
Do
have
I actually
hurt.
have to move to the faction site?
No, you don't. You just play it as a
Oh,
hazard, and
oh.
it just
I wasn't sure. I didn't like to ask you to reveal that I had it, but I've
no.
had it in my hand for a while. I probably would have made the attempt just to get revenge.
Let me roll.
Because I think at one stage your GI was
So I
down to
would have.
2.
Oh yeah, yeah. When it was down at
So
2, that would have been the time to play it. Absolutely. So.
you would have had to roll a 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, if it's less than 11, sorry. No, you would have had to roll a 9. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's a pretty good card. Yeah, I just play it and you can't get any modifiers or anything. You've just got to roll.
It's like the Call of Home. The Call of Home and Muster are two cards that make people leave free general influence. Because there's not really any other defense against it. Once that card gets played, you just have to add whatever general influence you have to a roll. And you may lose a faction. And if you've only got one faction, like I only had that one faction, that would have been even more brutal because then your factions would have doubled.
Oh, and I had 12, yeah. Well, I would have been up to 16.
You would have.
But you couldn't double it.
You would have been. It would have been. It would have been. It would have been a blowout. I mean, you already more than doubled me.
Just out of interest, so say I had the 16, that wouldn't. Would
Okay,
that double,
well let's do this.
even though it takes over half.
Let's do this.
Total.
Let's say I take Ironhill Dwarves, and I discard them, and I lose 4 faction points. Now, double your faction points. So take it up to go all the way up to 24.
Yep. So
I think you would have.
Oh, so it's still less than.
Yeah, you would have. Like I said,
I could keep them all because it's still less than half.
It would. It's
that
nice.
Rule still applies. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a trick I probably missed because I had 2 of them. I think I discarded one, so all 3 I've seen in my hand in this.
Well, I'm happy you did not play them because you would have just humiliated me this game.
There's a lot. I've got to say, I got a little bit overwhelmed trying to sort of think of all the possibilities with what I had in my hand, and especially with all that business of drawing
extra cards,
4 and 6 cards. I almost felt like it was just almost getting out of control.
It gets that way.
Trying to make good decisions. Yeah.
Usually, what I will do is I will give up my thinking on keeping the right cards and just keep the best cards. Just you discard cards and don't look back. If you're going to keep drawing lots of cards, it totally changes the dynamic of what you should be holding. You don't need to really hold anything anymore. If you're drawing 6 cards on a turn, because you're going to go through your deck. You went through your deck 3 times.
Yeah.
You'll get those cards back, and you'll just keep getting your choice of best cards each turn as long as he's moving and drawing 4 or 6 cards.
Yeah.
And it was working out perfectly because you would draw a handful of combat modifiers, and I was playing creatures, and you'd kill them, and then
Mm,
you'd still have cards left to do what you needed to do. So
yeah. If you've been playing a corruption strategy, those modifiers, I wouldn't have been using them.
right, it would have been if I had played
Quite
corruption
different.
against this deck, against your deck, it would have your deck would have played completely different
Yeah.
because I would be putting corruption on Radagast every turn, trying to keep you. I would be
Mm,
playing Lures of Nature on him. Um, and once he's got an
oh,
item, or
yes.
once he's got more than one corruption card on him, he he thinks twice about moving through Wilderness and drawing extra cards.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Yep, yep. Yeah, okay.
But good game, great game, a lot of fun.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So next week,
Uh huh.
I've done my resource on another deck
All right,
and my character. I've just got to do the hazard strategy. So
this
I
is
think I'll keep
great.
trying to do a deck each week
This is
because
great.
as I say, I'm learning a lot
I'm
in
enjoying it too.
building.
I hope I hope you don't feel like it's like an obligation because at any time if you've got something else going on or you want to take a break, just say
Mm,
so. I enjoy it. I love it. I will
sure.
play. I'll play whenever you want to play, but I don't want you to feel like
Okay.
we've got a commitment here. You
Yeah.
know?
No. No. All right. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
All
Yeah.
right, good.
If I get a busy week or something and I can't build a deck, but I could always just pull out one that I've played before and replay it as well.
Sure. All right. I will concede this game and not look back.
I don't know about that.
Uh-huh. Well, this point
They're
total
all
is
training
different.
games.
Yeah, we bumped that up, assuming that you had influenced my faction
Yeah.
away, but it was a pretty decisive game nonetheless.